Storage is a crucial stage in the production of quality fruit. Some 40% of the production costs are incurred after fruit's picked, and storage alone accounts for 5% of these costs. Storage helps us to maintain fruit quality whilst enabling us to supply our customers over the longest possible season. This HDC guide and the manual that goes with it aims to help you focus on your storage of apples and pears and consider ways in which you can do the job better. The key principle of fruit storage is to minimise fruit respiration and thereby reduce rate of deterioration. To do this, we use low temperatures and controlled atmospheres. The lower the temperature, the slower the rate of deterioration, but too low for too long can damage fruit. You get further control by controlling the atmosphere. That's increasing carbon dioxide and lowering oxygen. The key to achieving the best from storage is to know exactly what your stores can realistically achieve. Not all stores are capable of storing fruit for the maximum period, no matter how well they're managed. The records from previous storage seasons can help you plan ahead. If these don't exist, talk to a storage expert and get his opinion on the condition and capability of the stores. To hold fruit successfully after picking, it's essential to control temperature without causing low temperature or freezing damage. But further significant improvements can be achieved by controlling the atmosphere as well. The exact conditions you need for any variety of apple and pear can be found in the East Malling storage recommendations, available as a wall chart produced by HDC. Modern cold stores have a number of key features, with insulated walls, insulated floors, good temperature seals, temperature control, and of course control of the atmosphere. Most modern stores are constructed using prefabricated panels that have insulation materials sandwiched between metal sheets. Insulation is extruded polystyrene or polyurethane. The metal is galvanized or has a plasticized coating. Floors are specially constructed to take the weight of the fruit and forklift movements. They include vapor seals and heavy-duty insulation. Many older stores don't have this insulation and therefore have higher running costs. Each store has pipe entry plates providing a gas-tied entry point into the store for refrigeration pipework, fan and defrost connections, thermometer leads and the gas sampling lines. Safety valves are also included in the design to relieve pressure which could build up as a result of rapid cooling, defrosting, scrubber operation or air pressure outside. All doors and hatches are insulated with a vapour barrier and some form of gas-proof seal. On older stores, sealing can be achieved by grease, but in newer stores, specially designed seals are used. Fruit produces heat continuously during storage as it respires. Refrigeration is needed to cool the fruit, initially removing the relatively high temperatures experienced in the orchard and then maintaining cool temperatures over the storage period. The refrigeration system has a closed pipe circuit connecting four essential components: the compressor, condenser, the expansion or regulator valve, and the evaporator. Through this system, a refrigerant moves and achieves cooling within the store. The refrigerant vapour is compressed and delivered to the condenser where it's cooled. It liquefies, and this liquid is passed through the regulator into the evaporator, which is at a lower pressure, where it boils and absorbs heat from the fruit in store. Vapours then return to the compressor and used again. Most stores today use direct expansion systems of cooling. Air is made up mainly of nitrogen, with about 20% oxygen and a number of other gases at very low levels, including carbon dioxide. In common with most other living things, apples and pears take up oxygen and give off carbon dioxide in a process called respiration. The fruit continues to respire after it's picked. We use refrigeration and controlled atmosphere conditions of low oxygen and high CO2 to slow this respiration down, thereby extending storage life. In the simplest CA regime, carbon dioxide is allowed to build up to a preset level and then controlled by venting with air. Using this system of ventilated storage, it's possible to successfully store some varieties like Bramley. Where different levels of carbon dioxide are required, a system has to be used that gives a greater degree of control. This is commonly achieved with an activated carbon scrubber. The store atmosphere is passed over a bed of activated carbon, which absorbs CO2, returning to the store with a reduced level. If CA conditions are lost for any reason, they can be quickly recreated using nitrogen generators, which flush out the oxygen from the store. Ethylene is the natural ripening gas produced by many types of fruit as they mature, and it's important in storage. High levels of advanced ripening, and in some varieties like Bramley, cause disorders such as scald. On Bramley, pre-storage treatment with DPA controls this, as does ethylene scrubbing. Recently, Smart Fresh has also been developed, which blocks ethylene production in the fruit. It's applied in store after loading, but before CA conditions are established. In April or May each season, review your last storage year. Look out the store logbooks and the results of fruit monitoring each month. Did you load apples and stores in the right time? Did you achieve target temperatures? Did you achieve CO2 and oxygen levels within your target time? All these things give you an idea of what's happening and what you need to improve. Use the results of this review to plan ahead. Review your service contract. If you haven't got one, set one up after you've talked to a number of suppliers. Book them in for the pre-season service. Plan any larger scale maintenance or refurbishment you need to do and include your own cleaning and maintenance. Allow yourself plenty of time before you start fruit loading. Before the season starts, check all equipment and buildings thoroughly. In the plant room, check for any signs of leaks, unusual noises or smells. On the thermostats, check they're operating correctly. Check the condition of compressors with its drive belts and systems. Ensure that if you've got a crankcase heater, it's switched on at least 48 hours before the plant is to run. Check the scrubber settings on all the stores, that they're set to 0, and close all the valves to isolate the scrubber from the store. Get your service engineer to test the system, the scrubber pipes, valves and the associated equipment. Visually check the pipe work for damage and all the joints and flanges. Check the breather bags for leaks. Pressurise them overnight and make sure that the safety valve is working. Get the gas sampling system checked, including the pump diaphragms, and pressure test the sample lines. Ensure that all joints are intact and they're tight. And check the calibration of analyzers using a certified calibration gas. Inspect each of your stores. Look for any damage at all, whether it's cracks or gaps between seals, walls, roofs, floors, and mark the damage. Make a note of these for each store. Check the refrigeration pipework and the fan function at high and low speed. Check lubricants. Make sure the defrost system drains and sump heaters are functioning properly. Lastly, check the temperature probes using melting ice. Label each one clearly so that you can log their position in the store. Can you ventilate loft spaces above your stores? You need to consider installing an extractor fan and thermostat, as significant temperature build-up in these areas can adversely affect the store performance. Once identified, you need to mend any damage straight away. For walls, seal with rib fill, and for joints between the wall and the floor, seal with Aquacoat that's made especially for use on floors. Consider also repainting walls and the ceiling. Lastly, replace any damaged seals on the doors and hatches. Clean down inside each store before the season starts. and ideally before you check for leaks. This will help you detect problems, and it helps improving hygiene to control rots on fruit in store. For each controlled atmosphere store, you need to test its gas tightness before each season starts. You do this by applying a pressure to the store when it's sealed and recording the time it takes for that pressure to drop. Never take the pressure above 25 millimeters of water, and make sure you record carefully the time. Compare that with the table in the manual and you'll have an idea of the gas tightness. If the store doesn't hold pressure, then leaks must be found. Most commonly, you'll find leaks around doors, entry hatches and around the pipework plates, although panel joints can also leak and they must be remedied. As well as arranging bins to get the maximum load into a store, they must be arranged to allow air circulation around the bins. Nearly all the cooling that occurs in store is by convection, so that good air circulation is essential if this is to take place efficiently. A good way of achieving this is to mark out the floor with empty bins to make sure you've got the right gaps between the wall and the bins and between each bin. You need to start pre-cooling the store for at least 7 days before loading. Don't allow too large a temperature drop, as this will cause pressure changes in the store, so leave a door or hatch slightly ajar to stop this happening. Running refrigeration is costly, so do everything you can to reduce the heat of fruit going into store. Keep it in the shade as soon as possible after picking, and you should load fruit within 4 hours of picking. Bins should be stacked under covered areas, and only load a store when you've got sufficient bins to make opening the door worthwhile. Samples of fruit should be taken before you load bins into store. They'll be used to monitor the condition of the fruit whilst it's in store. You need to collect one fruit from each of 20 bins and place them in a net bag. You need one bag for every month you expect to store the fruit. Label each bag with details of the farm, orchard, picking date and any other treatment, together with the store number or name, and of course the variety. Take a separate sample for each orchard or variety that you put into a store. Put the samples to one side, but don't allow them to heat up. Switch off the store fan during loading and when the doors are open, so that warm air isn't sucked into the store chamber. Set the thermostat at 4 centigrade during loading and switch off the defrost system. Restart after loading when temperature is down to 3, and temperature should fall at least 5 centigrade a day after loading. As bins are loaded into store and stacked, make sure air can circulate well without cold or hot spots developing. Stack them tightly around the cooler. Wherever possible, stores should be filled completely. The quality of fruit can only suffer in a part-filled store. You need to bury the thermometers in the bin among the fruit to record fruit temperature. Don't leave them lying on the top of bins. Make a note in the store log of the thermometer position in the store. You need to leave space in a bulk bin near the inspection hatch for your fruit sample nets. For stores with sealing hatches, place samples in a bulk bin below the hatch with a cord for each net. This will help withdraw the nets safely during storage. If you've got a door inspection hatch, place nets in a bin beside that hatch. It's possible for fruit in sample nets to shrivel more than normal. You can reduce this by either covering samples with polythene or using a specially prepared bin with a cutaway side. Shrivel can be a particular problem in the storage of pears. This can largely be overcome by using polythene bin covers to reduce the moisture loss. Where possible, pears should be pre-cooled before bin covers are put on. Once the store's loaded, make a note in your store log or diary of the fruit in each store, the number of bins, date of loading, and any other details that you need. Make sure too that you note the target storage conditions which you're going to use for that store. Once temperatures in store are down to 10 centigrade, you can start sealing hatches and closing vents. That's unless you need to delay CA, like if you're using SmartFresh. But don't rush the sealing. Take your time and get it right. It will save you a lot of trouble later. And remember, the performance of nearly every store in the UK can be improved by paying greater attention to the way you manage loading and unloading procedures. It's crucial that you establish conditions in store correctly. Use the exact conditions you need for each variety. Make sure that you have all the details written down and adhere to them. Remember though that you may need to alter the way you do things if fruit is pre-treated in any way, like if you use DPA or if you're using SmartFresh in store. Once stores are full and running, check each day the printout from the controller to see what temperatures and CA conditions are being logged. Make a note of these in your manual log. Once temperatures have been achieved, there may be some fluctuation, but any real fluctuations should cause you to act quickly. Check CA levels twice a day and log the readings that you make. To modify conditions in unscrubbed stores, you can only control the carbon dioxide level. By using vents, you have no control over the oxygen level. So to raise CO2 levels, reduce ventilation, and to lower them, increase it. In scrub stores, to raise carbon dioxide, reduce the scrubbing, and to lower CO2, increase it. To raise oxygen levels, increase ventilation, and to lower them, decrease it. At least once a week, check the store CA levels with a portable gas analyzer. Use this on each store using a different sampling point to that used by the automatic system. Make a note of your check readings, and if they disagree with the automated system by more than 0.2%, find out why. To keep the cooling system working efficiently, the evaporator must be free of ice. Make sure that you keep the defrost system operating, especially when you're working at temperatures below 4 degrees C in store. Problems can always occur during the storage period. Most often these are caused by errors that we make or because instruments are faulty. But they can also occur because of leaks in sampling lines or because seals in doors or hatches are faulty. Problems are much easier to sort out if you've got properly detailed records. Without them it's almost impossible. So as well as a store log, keep a separate diary where you note down anything that happens in the store, like service call-outs or other events. If you keep these for 3 years, they can help you to spot trends. Once a month, you need to remove sample nets from each store to monitor the condition of the fruit. Make sure you do this safely. In controlled atmosphere stores, low oxygen levels are very dangerous. Make sure you know the safe way to open the inspection hatch and to withdraw the fruit. You can do this monitoring yourself, but many growers choose to use an advisor to carry it out for them. Fruits are inspected for surface damage and signs of disorder and disease. You score the green background colour and test 10 fruit for firmness using a penetrometer. These fruit are then cut to check for internal disorders. One cut close to the calyx end of the fruit and the second across the equator. They are then tasted for any off flavours. Remaining fruit in the sample is placed in a room at 18 centigrade for 5 to 7 days and then assessed again. These results are then used to judge when fruit should be marketed and highlight any significant changes in fruit condition, which might need action like amending storage conditions or early marketing. Unlike apples, pears, like Conference, should only ripen once they're out of store. So for the fruit you monitor, you need to record how long it takes for the fruit to reach eating ripeness of 1.5 kilos. There are over 20 problems and disorders that can occur to fruit once it's in store. You need to familiarise yourself with these by referring to the HDC colour wall chart of disorders and to the manual which accompanies this video. Make sure you can recognise them and what action to take when you see them. You will also need to take samples of fruit as you unload the fruit from store. Assess it in the same way as you do your monthly samples, and don't forget to hold some of the fruit for at least 7 days. Good post-store management of the fruit is essential if we're not to waste all the effort that's gone into storage. When fruit comes out of store, it should be packed and graded within 10 days of leaving the store. To help keep quality up, lower the temperature in store to 1 once the door has been opened. This has a marked effect in preserving good fruit quality. But remember, Bramley is very sensitive to low temperature, so don't drop the temperature for this variety. It's essential that you're always aware of your own and others' safety in your CA stores. Remember, the atmosphere in CA stores is unsafe to breathe, and with very low oxygen it can kill. Never enter or put your head into a CA store. Never work alone when opening hatches or removing samples, and check that the store's been properly vented before you open the doors. To store fruit successfully, you need to have very clear objectives. For each store, you need to know the variety, how long it's planned to be stored, and you need to have the correct storage conditions. Remember to use the HDC East Malling storage wall chart with recommendations about the best conditions. There's also an HDC wall chart available on storage diseases and disorders for you to use. If you want extra copies, ask for them now. Whilst your main objective of storage period will be governed by the marketing plan you're working to, fruit condition can change and may alter what you need to do. Manage your stores effectively. Aim to achieve the correct temperature as quickly as you can, achieve the required atmosphere quickly, and maintain both temperature and atmosphere to within the targets you've set. The following give rise to problems every season: when you don't maintain the refrigeration or the electrical system properly, when you can't ventilate the roof space, and when you don't seal doors, problems always arise. You can stop some refrigeration problems by monitoring refrigerant gas levels with a simple detector, and you ought to always act on the readings that you take. Remember, storage is a science, not an art. So if you get all the procedures right and follow the guidelines, you'll have a satisfactory result. But remember, accurate readings are essential to help you control things. Any changes from the conditions you've set must be acted on straight away. And although your job can seem lonely at times, help's only a phone call away. So keep phone numbers and contact details near to your records. Storage is a vital part of our quest to produce high-quality fruit for our customers. Without it, we couldn't meet their expectations for quality over a long period. At every stage, we must strive to maintain that quality whilst running our stores as efficiently as we possibly can.